Homework 8, number 3. In this problem, you're asked to write a for loop that creates an array with alternating zeros and ones with a length of 20. So this is similar to a problem in homework 7. Let's go to MATLAB and see how to strategize this. So you need to write a for loop that creates an array with alternating zeros and ones with a length of 20. Okay, let's go to MATLAB here. And see. So I'm going to create a new script for this problem. And again, let's start strategizing. So I want to create a loop, create an array with a length of 20 that has alternating zeros and ones. So basically, I want to create this 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. I need this to happen to have a length of 20. So logically, if you want this to have a length of 20, you're just going to paste this 0, 1 10 times, right? So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I want to create this array. So how are we going to do this? So one way to do it is the way to do it basically is to run a loop, and for positions 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, I'll insert a 0, and for positions 2, 4, 6, 8, I'm gonna insert a 1, right? So one way to do it is create a loop for positions 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 15, 17, 19. I'm gonna insert 0, and basically for positions 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, and 20, I'm gonna insert 1, right? So this is one way to do it. So we can try and we can try to do it this way, where we run 2 loops and we just insert, or we can run 2 loops, and the first loop will drop zeros in these positions, and the second loop will drop zeros in this position. So let's try to do it this way. So I can say for I, and this time I'm going to use, so I want I to be equal to 1 with increments of 2 to 19, right? Because I want I to go from 1, 3, 5, 7 all the way to 19. So I'm incrementing I by 2 all the way to 19. And let's create an array. Let's call it A. So here at the top, let's say A is just, we can, let's just create an array A, and let's have A equal to zeros 20, right? So this will create, so this actually makes things easier. So I'm going to create an array with 20 zeros. And what zeros 20 does, so if you recall from what we talked about previously, if I write zeros 20 in my command window below here, it's going to create a matrix which is 20 by 20, which is not what we want. So let's try and fix this. So I'm going to put 1 comma 20s to try to get just one row of 20s, and here we go. So if I write zeros 1 comma 20, I'm going to create one row with 20 elements. All of them are zeros. So I'm going to go back up to my script here. I'm going to write A zeros 1 comma 20. So this will create a row. Instead of using the general term array, I'm going to say a row vector with 20 zeros. And then I want to insert ones in these positions: 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 14, all the way to 20. So in this case, let's run I from 2 to 20, and I'm gonna just say A of I is equal to 1 and end, right? So this is method 1 of doing it, method number 1. So in this method, initially I created an array of zeros, which has 20 elements, and then I'm going over the positions which I need to insert 1 in, 2 to 20 with increments of 2. So 2, 4, 6, 8, all the way to 20, and I'm planting a 1 in these positions. So this will create an array A with zeros and 1. So if I write display A, it should show you what you want. So let's run it. Again, it's going to ask you to save it. Make sure to save it in a position where you can find it. All this stuff. So we're doing homework 8, number 3. I'm going to save it here. So, and yeah, when I run it below, you can see here at the bottom, I have columns 1 to 12, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So I have 20 elements with alternating zeros and ones. There are a few more methods to do this objective, right? So let's try method 2. And this time, instead of using the zeros element, I'm going to use the ones function in MATLAB. So I'm going back to my command window below here, and I'm just clearing the screen, clearing the memory. And let's just test this one. So if I write ones, 1, comma 20, it's going to create a row vector with ones, with 20 ones basically, right? So let's do this and this time I'm going to use a second array. I'm going to call it B is equal to ones, 1, 20. And this time I'm going to run a for loop over these positions over which I want to insert a 0. So I'm going to run a for loop between 1 and 19 for I is equal to 1 to 19. So initial value, step size is 2, final value is 19. So I'm running a loop from 1 to 19 with increments of 2. And this will basically run I between over these values 1, 3, 5, 7, 19. And in these positions of this array having ones, I'm going to drop the zeros. So this line will create a row vector with 20 ones, and this line will run the loop over the positions which zeros have to be inserted, right? So now I'm going to say B of I is equal to 0, and then end, and then display B. So in the second method, again, I'm initially creating a row vector with just 20 ones, and then I'm planting zeros in the position in which I need to have a 0, right? So I'm replacing the ones with zeros in these positions, 1, 3, 5, 7, all the way to 19, which is basically going from 1 to 19 with increments of 2. As you see here, 1 to 19 with increments of 2. And if you run this loop, you're going to get the same thing. So I have, so you see column B initially was ones, and then after the loop became 0, 1, 0, 1, all the way to the end. Similarly, for method 1, vector A was initially zeros, and then after the loop became 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Okay, is there a third method to do it? Yes, there is. So method 3, and this is similar to the way I did it in the previous homework, where instead of running i's in increments of 2's, like in method 1 and method 2, let's say we don't have a method to initialize our vector with zeros or ones, right? So let's say I have a vector, you just have an array C, which has nothing in it, right? So you have C is equal to 0, it's just an empty variable, it has nothing in it, and I want to run my for loop for I is equal to 1 to 20. So I just want to go through every element of this loop. How are you going to do this? So basically I want I to go over here and insert a 0 in these positions, and I want the I to go over and insert a 1 in these positions. So as we initially said, this is a repeating pattern of 0 and 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. So how about I insert 0, 1 at the same time every loop? So I'm going to run the loop with increments of 2 between 1 and 20, and in positions I, I'm going to insert a 0, and C of I plus 1, I'm going to insert a 1. And display C. And you can do an if else here and check if I is, you can do an if else and check if I is these numbers, then it's equal to 0, and if I is equal to these numbers, then you can insert a 1. But logically, this is the most sound way to do it, or this is the most logical way to do it, robust approach as well for any type of scenario, where you look for the repeating element. So in this case, the repeating element is 0, 1. So I'm going to run I. So I'm going to run I between over the length of the loop with a step size equal to the length of the repeating element, right? So you're going to run the counter over the length of the loop with a step size equal to the length of the repeating segment. And this is a very important idea to remember, right? So if you have a repeating segment, you run your loop over the entire length of your array, but you increment it with a step size equal to the length of the repeating segment. So in this case, I'm running I from 1 to 20, and I'm increasing it with a step size equal to the length of this repeating segment, which is 0, 1. And then for positions which have positions at the I, these are equal to 0. For positions at the I plus 1, these are equal to 1. And if you think about it, when I is equal to 1, so initially I is equal to 1, so C of 1 is equal to 0, C of 2 is equal to 1, then I becomes 3, C of 3 equals to 0, C of 4 is equal to 1, and which satisfies the objective here, right? So this is the best way to think about it, and you need to get your head around it and understand this logic, because this is the easiest, most robust way to approach these types of loops with repeating segments. So let's run this and see if it executes as we expect. So again, yeah, we have a spelling error. Display has to only be this. So let's run it again. So let's clear our memory here. CLC clear. Let's run it, and as you can see, I have my row vector C with alternating zeros and ones.